Hey, everyone, Chris here. Maybe we can feature you on the channel. All right, so the past week we have done on the channel an Always Drive Sober campaign, which is a week-long campaign. Hey, what's up, Rick? Talking about just trying to drive sober and eliminating drinking and driving altogether. So we're going to be talking about my story and what impact it's had on my life as well as family and just everything altogether. So we're going to be sharing that. But yeah, the whole week was just dedicated to having people realize that drinking and driving is, first of all, 100% avoidable. Like, we could actually end it immediately at this moment, 100% all over the world. Like, that's the thing. We could just end it immediately. But unfortunately, it still is a major problem for a lot of people who think that they're okay, even if they had one or two drinks, or even a lot more and they think they're okay. But the whole moral of the story is never get behind the wheel. Even if you had one or two, it's just not worth it. There's so many issues out there and problems that, yeah, we might want to have a couple of drinks to escape from them, or, have it as a social lubricant or whatever it might be. But be smart and make good decisions if you're going to go out, have a good time, have a few drinks, go to a party, whatever it might be. That's the whole point. Order an Uber or Lyft, call a cab, hail a cab, whatever you're doing at the point, wherever it might be. Calling a friend or a family member, having them come pick you up if you need it, or just being smart already and having a designated driver. So there's so many options out there that you can do, and just not being part of the problem and part of the solution. So another good thing too is all the drivers that watch this channel, which is quite a few, it's awesome for the fact that a few of you have reached out or commented and said, yeah, I enjoy the fact that I can help people get home safe. And that's really what it's all about. So anybody who does drive at night and deals with drunk people like I do and like several people do, that's awesome. That's a great step, and that's just something that's good. So feel good about yourself for doing that. Now, today's stream is going to be a little, sorry, 1 second. It's going to be awfully emotional. So if I take a few moments for myself, I have to. But hopefully it will share a message that nobody else will do it. So I do apologize if I break for a moment, gather myself. But before we get into that story, one of the things that I do want to talk about is, with this past week, there was a lot of things going on in Uber and Lyft, dealing with driver safety, passenger safety, AB5, just a lot of different things that are going on within the realm of Uber and Lyft, rideshare, all that stuff. So over the next few days, we're going to kind of catch up with a lot of different things, whether it be talking about the updates of AB5, where that stands, driver safety and passenger safety with what happened in Maryland and a few other places, as well as some other things that have been going on. So those are going to be over the next few days, just to catch up, because we did do that week campaign for Always Drive Sober. So stay tuned for that. And then we're going to get into our regularly scheduled programming of just the crazy shenanigans of what happens on the road, some different tips and tricks and all that fun stuff. So yeah, I do hope, again, like I said, everybody learned. And I do thank Aaron, and I do thank Chelsea, and I do thank another person, which I'm not going to be able to say too much right now, only because what's going on within their life and dealing with drinking and driving and stuff like that. So that story will come to light very soon, but currently I can't say anything about that story, and it's very relevant to what happened and what we're talking about with this channel when it's talking about always drive sober. So stay tuned for that down the road, because that will, like I said, be coming up soon. Right now, I don't want to say anything, only because the family I know very well, and they've had a issue with an alleged drunk driver and something within their family, and I don't want to say anything more because the court trial is set to start very soon. So I don't want to have anything out there that can impede or impede on it by saying the wrong thing, because unfortunately the legal system can be a major problem when it comes to that. So that story in good time will come about, and I'm actually happy to be able to have that story shared as well at some point down the road. But we're going to be talking about my story and my family story and what happened. But first, kind of not the specific event initially, but just my overall view of drinking and driving. And that is that even when I was younger, when I started drinking, I mean, we all drink in high school. I mean, let's be real. So, you know, I think the first time I got really drunk was I was 14 years old. But in high school, you know, it was great because I was surrounded with a bunch of friends who shared that same view. If we decided to, you know, have a few drinks that night when we were in high school, everybody stayed put, nobody drove, everybody gave up their keys, we put them away somewhere and nobody could leave. And that was good. So, you know, everybody had a few drinks, we hung out, stayed in the basement. The only time we'd go outside or something is if we were out walking or just hanging out because it was a nice night, fire, whatever. But yeah, everybody stayed put. And that's kind of what started the whole me being against drinking and driving altogether to begin with. So everybody's, you know, just played smart and was smart about it, where they didn't do anything, go out. It was great. But other people, unfortunately, don't follow suit. And so fast forward to, you know, 21, and my friends turning 21, we're all able to go out to the bar, and things change because now there's not that zero tolerance policy. There's actually, you know, you can go out to the bar, go out, have some drinks, go to the liquor store, buy whatever you want. And, you know, nobody's really going to stop you necessarily, except for yourself or maybe the friends or people that are close by you when it comes to drinking and driving. So the big thing is that, yeah, once we started hitting that age, you know, I adapted a rule, which I think a lot of people have, and that was the 3-drink maximum rule. And initially I started with that, but I've changed it completely, dropped it even more. But yeah, I think it was a 3-drink rule. And if anybody ever went out with me for a drink, they would be like, dude, you nursing that drink so long? And I'm like, well, because if I'm drinking, I don't like getting behind the wheel if I have alcohol in my system. There's, you know, there's too much that could go wrong. And I'm like, even at best, I don't want to waste $10,000 of my hard-earned money and then, you know, have problems down the road. So I've always been an advocate against drinking and driving. And when I've ever come across people or met people that became friends, and I found out that they had a few drinks and decided to drive home because they thought they were okay, you know, I laid into them and I really gave them hell. And I said, look, if you want to be friends and you cherish our friendship, don't drink and drive, because if you get behind the wheel, I will not talk to you ever again. And, you know, I get very in-depth, hey, Chell, I get very in-depth on things. Yep, Raul, absolutely, especially as an Uber driver. It's just not worth it. Drinking and driving is not worth it. And even, you know, I'm 33 right now. I tell people I'm 26, which is kind of funny, but yeah, I'm 33, so, you know, I've been drinking almost 20 years of my life. And yeah, because like I said, it was 14. But never did anything stupid, never got behind the wheel. Whenever I go out to the bar, always would only have a maximum of 3 drinks. Never anymore. And I'd nurse the hell out of that. And even when I finished the last drink, I would wait there for probably at least 45 minutes to an hour, at least. Because, you know, here's the thing. If you have 3 drinks and within 1 hour, your BAC is probably right around 0.05. And I believe in the state of California, that is the legal limit for drinking and driving now. In New York State, they're actually thinking about dropping it to 0.05, and I'm sure other states will probably be doing the same. So if you have 3 drinks within 1 hour, you're looking at already that point. Now, I never would drink that much in that short of time because I would always nurse my drinks. So sometimes if I go out and have a drink at a bar, I might have 1 drink the entire time I'm there, but because I'm sipping and nursing the hell out of it, then, you know, my body's able to break it down. And if I if I actually go and drive home, you know, then I actually have no alcohol in my system, and I do that on purpose. So that was, you know, like I said, right around 21, a few years after, that was really what it was just I had that 3 drink maximum. But all of a sudden it did change, and it changed pretty hard. So I apologize also for breaking up, because it is emotional. But I need a pin to pinch myself or something. Jesus. Just to kind of like get out of my mind. Do you think, you know what, I'll answer that after. Let me get in, Raul, let me get into that after. Only because I kind of want to get through the story of what happened first. Also, if I look away from the camera, just to try to help. But yeah, so I had, it was going back a couple of years ago, almost 7 years to be exact. It was late November. It was a Monday or Tuesday after Thanksgiving. So it was just before December started. I'm in Buffalo. You're getting a nice crisp autumn at that point. Temperature's cool. No snow, so it's good. But yeah, Monday, Tuesday, can't remember what day it was. It's about 11 o'clock, and I'm at my job filling up gas on my work truck. And I get a phone call from my mom. And she said that my cousin got, into an accident. And, you know, being 11, you don't think too much of it. You're just like, okay, got into an accident. Hopefully everybody's okay. Nobody knew the details, really, at the moment. But what happened was she was dropping her daughter off at school about 9 in the morning. And she's driving down the street. And oncoming traffic, somebody's driving. She's driving a car. The other person is driving an SUV. The other person was drunk. Yeah, the other person was drunk behind the wheel and driving at 9 in the morning from partying the night before. She was mid-20s and decided to get behind the wheel, drive home. But she crossed a double line, crashed into my cousin, and split the car in half. Now, what I didn't mention was that she also had another daughter, and you don't leave babies at home. You got to take them with you because they can't fend for themselves. So she was dropping her baby, her daughter off, and her baby was in the car too. She's 7 months old. This is tough. 7 years later, it's still tough, especially trying to share with people. So, I do apologize. Like I said, it's very emotional though. But yeah, so she was 7 months old, got ejected out of the car. She was in the car seat. Everything was hooked up as it should have been. Car got ripped in half by a drunk driver. My cousin had to be mercy flighted to the hospital because they were in an area that was a little further away, out in a little bit rural from Buffalo. And yeah, so 7 months. She was 7 months old, and that was her whole life. So my cousin ended up living. Thank you, Raul. My cousin was mercy flighted, like I said. She suffered injuries. Luckily, I mean, she had 2 other kids. She has an older boy and the daughter, like I said, that she dropped off at school. And now they have another boy. So they have 4 children all together, but obviously one is not here. And, you know, but yeah, she suffered injuries. And when the people where she was right outside a gas station when it happened. So the people ran out to help her out, help the baby, whatever they could do. They were there. But she was screaming for her baby. And 9 a.m. 9 a.m., you're going to school, you're going to work, you're thinking, nobody's going to be on the road drinking. Nobody's going to be out driving at that point with alcohol in their system. But no. One wrong decision. This girl that was behind the wheel thought to herself, hey, I'm okay, I drink it off. I can go drive home. Not that far. Her life changed completely too. She pleaded guilty in a criminal charge. She was charged with second-degree manslaughter, amongst other things, but that was the main charge. Felony carries up to 15 years. And I was at the sentencing, as most of the family was. And the judge was so swift to give that sentence. But some of the things that he said, which I don't want to say, because I can't say them verbatim, because being 7 years ago, but the essence of it was that there's nothing that could be done to bring back a baby who would have had their whole life ahead of them. And he sentenced her to the maximum of 15 years. Not even a quiver of anything in his voice. Sentenced 15 years. So this girl who thought that, hey Christina, yeah, I'll get to the comments in a little bit. Thank you for commenting. But yeah, so she got 15 years. It was 7 years ago, or I'm sorry, it was in May when the sentencing happened in 2013. So it's actually it'll be 7 years in May. That she was been sentenced, but obviously before that, any time served counts for that. But unfortunately, in New York State, yeah, it's a maximum of 15 years. Most people don't think that's enough, especially with what had happened. Not the nice thing, but at least something that the media did was right in certain aspects was that it was all over the news. Granted, it was all over the news when it happened, so my family didn't have the time to really understand, comprehend, and grieve what was going on because they were bombarded. But hopefully it helped in our area realize that the decisions you make don't affect just you. It'll affect every single person that you come in contact on the road that you're driving on, and all of their families, if anything is to happen. So this girl that hit my cousin and split the car in half, her life is completely ruined too. She made one bad decision and she's in jail for 15 years. Yes, she can go out on probation. There's probationary period. But if she does one thing that screws up and fucks up, she's back in jail for the full 15 years. Some people might be praying for that. Just saying. But, then the aftermath, too. The loss of a child, of a baby. You don't think something like that is possible. But it is. And it could happen to anybody. You have 1 or 2 drinks, you have 3 drinks. You might be a lightweight, you might be a 95-pound girl, you might be a 190-pound guy, you might be, you might have the best alcohol consumption metabolism in the world. But if you have 1 drink, it does mess with your mind a little bit. It slows it down, it's a depressant. So that means your reaction time is slower. That means what you perceive and what you think isn't the reality that we're living in. It's your augmented reality. So even if you have a drink or a couple drinks and you think you're okay to drive, don't get behind the wheel. You don't know what could happen. Nobody can predict the future more so than the few seconds that we're at this present moment. The only thing I can predict right now is that I'm sitting right here talking to you. That's the only thing I know. Beyond that, I have no idea. You have no idea. So that is a major proponent on why I'm very much against drinking and driving. Because it took somebody in our family. And then the havoc that it reaped upon for my cousin and her fiance and now husband at the time. It destroyed them. It killed, it brought the relationship to a grinding halt for a while. And they had to recover and still aren't the same. Nobody will be. Nobody could be after something like that. And the problem is, it's 100% avoidable. And if anybody watched the video that I posted the other day about how the statistics behind drinking and driving, the 2 years that I gave, I think it was 2010, and I want to say it was 2017, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But both of those years had between 10 and 11,000 people die from alcohol-related injuries from drinking and driving accidents in 1 year. That's the size of a small arena. That's the size of a small arena right there of people that would perish because of drinking and driving. And again, it's 100% avoidable. It's 100% preventable by using services like Uber and Lyft or other rideshare platforms that may be in your area. By calling or hailing a cab. Yes, they cost more money, but hey, if you don't have Uber and Lyft in your area, it's a great way to get home safe. Same thing by calling a friend or a family member. Don't think that it might be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning and you don't want to bother them, or you think that there's going to be some issue. Don't do it. Yeah, Uber all the way. Uber and Lyft. Yes, there's so many problems with it. I mean, honestly, think about it. Less than 10 years old for both companies, and or right around that range. And how fast and how big they grew, I mean, nobody really saw it coming, but it's a fantastic service. They have a lot of work to do, absolutely, to make it better for everybody, for themselves, for the drivers that drive for them or drive with them as partners, and also the passengers. So it needs to be a win-win-win for everybody. And the ability to put drivers and riders together, drivers who are looking to make money, who are looking to have fun or good time, whatever it might be. Maybe they have a whole different reason on why they drive. If they're able to pair and they're able to get driver or passengers home safe, especially after drinking. I mean, obviously it's for so many different reasons, for people who need services going to and from locations. But one of the big things is drinking. Anybody who's drinking, they can call it. So yeah, same thing, calling a friend or family member. Don't feel that you're going to be or cause havoc or don't feel it's a burden on your friends or family. They're probably more than likely happy to come pick you up. At the time they might not, but it's well worth the call. And then same thing with having a designated driver. Think smart beforehand. Plan your night by having a designated driver. And if you have a close group of friends, one person's the DD and rotate it through unless that one person just doesn't drink. There are people who just don't drink. So like Aaron, my friend Aaron, he doesn't drink, but he'll always drive. He'll always be the DD and take people out. I tell him right now he should drive for Uber and Lyft because he just got a new car that that falls within the categories of Uber and Lyft. So he's thinking about it right now. But yeah, he's always the DD because he doesn't drink. And but that's just smart, being smart right there. So yeah, the whole point is do not get behind the wheel no matter what. Nobody knows what could happen. And even if you think you're okay, you still have alcohol in your system. So if you get into an accident, if you get into a crash with any type of alcohol in your system, the charges are going to be different for you. And again, it could have been 100% preventable and 100% avoidable. And like I said, it could end immediately. We could end it right like that. Like if Thanos snapped his fingers from Infinity War and said, no more drinking and driving. We don't even need that. We could just do it by being smart and using different services or different means to get home and just be safe and be smart. All right, so I just see a couple of comments. I do want to go through them with everybody. But yeah, sorry if I broke up a little bit. Again, like I said, it's a very emotional topic for me. And anybody who might have missed my story, go back in the replay and watch. But yeah, it's tough. And I mean, you never want to bury a child. You never, I mean, seeing this little box for her, insane. Absolutely insane. So yeah, never do it. Don't do it. I mean, the crazy thing is doing this week, getting the statistics. A friend of mine, like I said, who I can't really talk about too much at the moment, just because they're dealing with their whole something that happened last year with an alcohol-related incident, and that's really all I can say. But she helped me get a couple of statistics together, and some of the statistics I was researching, and you know, it's astounding, the number. Like, I didn't even think it was that much. And seeing that they estimated it to be about 110, 115 million episodes of drinking and driving a year. That is way too much. It should be zero. Way too much. And the havoc that it can play, the havoc that it causes. I mean, if you are behind the wheel, and caught, it's a minimum of $10,000 and much worse. If and that's if nothing happens. That's if you get in no accidents. That's just if you get pulled over. Now, if you get into an accident, God forbid, you can really fuck your life up. And it just was one decision, one drink. So make the right decision. But yeah, like I said, I'm gonna go back to the comments. So thank you for everybody who did comment. But Raul, yeah. So I'll answer your question. Don't mean to get off topic, but do you think it's okay to rate a driver less than 5 stars if you're a driver yourself, especially if they're not listening to your request? You know what? Hey, rate accordingly. And if you're a driver, rate accordingly. I mean, if you're going to rate a passenger the same way, you're going to hold them to certain standards. So if there's a reason why you want to rate a driver that you're a driver, I mean, rate accordingly. If they don't deserve the 5 star, there's a reason for it, then, I mean, by all means, rate accordingly. Rate what you think should be. And if it is a serious issue, you know, you can call Uber or Lyft and make a report as well, especially if they're doing something that they shouldn't be or whatnot. I don't know what it was. But it's up to you. But yeah, I mean, rate accordingly, always. I know the ratings do suck, but yeah, condolences, and it's tough. You've got a DUI from many years ago, and that's changed for you drinking. You know what, Raul, that's awesome. Congratulations that you're never going to do it again. I know a lot of people who have DUIs, DWIs, all that stuff, and, you know, yeah, they made a bad decision. And luckily, the only thing that happened was that they just got pulled over. But unfortunately, worse does happen. And like I said, our family was a victim of that. More so for my cousins because they actually had to deal with it being immediate family. But like I said, this happened just after Thanksgiving. So obviously all the family was together for Thanksgiving. And yeah, it was, I mean, you never know. You just don't know what could happen. It's crazy. I mean, you don't want to get that phone call ever because it is 100% avoidable and preventable. But Raul, congratulations, my friend. Yes, you made one bad decision, but hey, you made a decision not to do it again. That's awesome. So I commend you. Christina, what's up? You commented your story on a video. Yes, I did see that. I have been very busy this last week with a lot of things, so if I didn't comment, I can't remember if I comment back, but I do appreciate your story when you got hit. I'm very sorry, though, that it happened. I'm glad you're okay. I mean, some Mustangs are not big cars either, and depending on the car, but yeah, I mean, I'm glad you're okay, really. So Christina, I'm very glad you're okay, and I'm sorry it happened to you as well. But the unfortunate statistic is that 1 out of 3 people in their lifetime will be in a alcohol-related accident. And again, that number's way too high. Should be 0. 1 out of 3. That's crazy. You know, you have 2 parents, 1 child. One of those 3 is probably going to get an alcohol-related incident, whether they're the ones who are drinking or not. So yeah, it doesn't affect, drinking and driving does not affect you. It affects every single person that you pass on the road at the time you're driving, and all of their families. So well beyond what you think. Brenda, it's emotional, it's real, absolutely, 100%. I hope it helps people too, I really do. The good thing about YouTube is that you can share stories, that you can, you know, help people, and if it can resonate in any way, shape, or form with whatever, you know, it's a great way, whether it's talking about alcohol and driving, or if it's, you know, talking about many other things. There's so many different YouTube channels out there. It's a great platform for people to see. I mean, the news can do it somewhat, but it's definitely not the same. So yeah, I hope that my story can help other people decide to use different means to get home. Thanks, Brenda, for the comment. Wisdom, you always give 5 stars for 99% of the customers. Yeah, I mean, going on the ratings, yeah, absolutely. I give mostly 5 stars as well too, but if they deserve a lower rating, they're gonna get a lower rating. I've given out plenty of 1-star ratings too in my day for some of the things that people do. And then on Lyft's aspect of things, I will even sometimes change my rating because I record all of my interactions on the road, and I save it on hard drives. So if I see something that happens that warrants a change because I didn't realize what was going on during the ride for whatever reason, I've done that before too. But yeah, when it comes, I mean, ratings are not great because anybody can rate anything. But if you're an honest rater and you're rating your passengers or your drivers truly accordingly, a low rating can be, given out for a number of different reasons. If there's certain things, but if somebody's not playing the right kind of music, or if it's too cold or something, those are stupid reasons. Or if you're just being an a-hole and rating people poorly because of that reason, or even going beyond that and things, it's just not right. So there are some problems with it, but sometimes if people are doing stupid things or being disrespectful on both ends, they get the rating they deserve, and that's pretty much it. All right, guys, any last comments or questions or anything? Because I do want to wrap that up or wrap this up. But yes, that was my story. That's my family story. I do have another close related story that is, like I said at the very beginning, that is actually going through the court system as we speak right now. So I cannot comment on that because I don't want that family to have any issues or fuel from the aggressor at that point. So I don't want that to happen for sure. You never rated a passenger or driver under 5 stars, but some drivers just don't get it. Yeah, some drivers just don't get it. You're right. They don't understand it. They don't make it, and that's probably why they have low ratings to begin with, or a low driver rating to begin with. And they're not watching YouTube channels or different YouTube videos to help them out. But yeah, absolutely, it's sometimes they don't get it. And another thing too is, if you want to be a better driver, become a passenger. Go out and see what it's like to be a passenger a couple of times and kind of get the feel for it. Yeah, thanks. I do have closure. It's tough though, but thank you. We have a question. You see videos about riders being able to cancel the ride halfway to the drop-off. How is that possible? It's possible. I don't really know because I've actually never went into it, but it does happen. I've seen videos where people are actually, probably the most notable is the Ryan Is Driving video where the girl canceled mid-ride. You can actually hear the audio. Not exact, like I said, I'm not 100% sure. I just know that it does happen. And unfortunately, Raul, thank you. I appreciate it. But going back to Christina, back to your post, your comment. Yeah, it's like I said, I've never actually attempted to try to do that because if I'm a passenger and I'm going to my location, You know, I'm a driver too, so I know what it's like for drivers. I'm not gonna be that a-hole who tries to do something. I mean, maybe a friend of mine who I know is a driver as well too, you know, maybe we can get together and, you know, kind of research it a little bit more. But I also wouldn't want to talk to, or I wouldn't want to share that with people to let people know how to do it. So there's that catch-22 as well too. But it does happen. It's been recorded many times. There's a lot of videos, not just people talking about it like myself in the scam videos that I've brought up, but it also is actual rides that you can see where a passenger will cancel. That's not a parody video as well either. Chad, there you go. You had to cancel, someone canceled the ride on you when they were almost destination. Not sure why, but you still got paid for the ride. Yeah, you know, that's a big thing too. I don't understand why people will do it just before. I mean, they're getting paid, they're paying up to the point it's canceled. But at that point, you pull over and say, "Get the hell out of my car. You're not a passenger anymore." And if they continue to stay in their car or something happens like that, call the cops. Don't get involved. I mean, don't do anything. And this is another reason why you need a dash cam. So if you don't have a dash cam yet, get one as a driver. I recommend the Van True N2 Pro. That's the one I use, but there's plenty out there. People always try and get free rides and they don't understand this. No, exactly. They don't understand. And they're trying to get free rides, trying to be cheap. They're whatever it is. And unfortunately, Uber and Lyft sometimes just bend over backwards and let the passengers rule the roost. And I can make another video on that when it comes to fear driving, Uber and Lyft's policies and thought processes behind a lot of things, because essentially that's what it is. Because there's a lot of different things there. I can't stand that either. I've never had that issue, but some people do, and it's very unfortunate. You know, I mean, you just don't know what's happening. You don't know the whole thing behind it sometimes. But yeah, I don't understand why people don't get out of the car and why they don't think, but it doesn't make any sense. You don't have to worry about it. You could quit driving 3 weeks ago, okay? You had it with passengers and Uber and Lyft constantly changing their pay structure. Absolutely. It's a real pain in the ass, for sure. Yep. Wisdom, you got a good idea right there, backing it up, seconding exactly what I just said. You know, you cancel mid-ride and you pull over because they're not a passenger anymore. I mean, they're not paying for the ride. Out, get to the next, go to the next ride, make some money there. And if they cancel mid-ride, make a report, because you'll be able to do that and say that, hey, they canceled the ride early, and you let them out. But just make a report, because you always want to cover your ass first. It's always good to have it in writing what's going on first. But yeah. So, like I said at the beginning, over the next few days, we're going to be covering a lot of the things that happened this past week while I was doing the Always Drive Sober campaign. Just catching up on things, like I said, the update on AB5, because there is an update there. It's probably, things are going to be happening real quick when it comes to that. So that's probably going to be tomorrow's video, what we're going to be talking about there. Also, again, passenger and driver safety with what's going on with what happened over in Maryland, where there was a driver and passenger that were shot and killed by another passenger in a pool ride. I'm going to share my thoughts and opinions as well as what happened on that. So if you didn't know, you could check that out or wait for the next couple of days. And then just a couple of other final wrap-up things from the past week, covering everything and kind of getting back into the normal swing of things. But yeah, today we're wrapping up, like I said, the Always Drive Sober Week campaign. But yes, it's always part of the channel. It's a core mission, I guess you could say, of my channel, of Real Rideshare Stories, and hence why I always say at the end of every video is always as always, never drink and drive. That's part of the reason. I'm always advocating and helping to educate people against drinking and driving. That will never change. So again, I hope my story helps. I hope Aaron, I hope Chelsea, I hope everybody else who helped for this past week hope to change anybody who sees that. I hope it resonates with them and brings down that number of alcohol-related driving incidences, whether it's reported, non-reported, whether it's anything. I hope we could help chip away at those statistics because, again, like I said, it is 100% avoidable and 100% preventable, and it could possibly end today if everybody started making the proper choices of getting home safe or doing the right things, and that's many different ways. So just wrapping up in the last few seconds, you know, if you do decide to go out and drive, if you decide to drive to a bar, to a friend's house, or whatever it might be, and you have a few drinks, call an Uber or Lyft, call a cab, you know, call a friend or a family member, have them come pick you up, or have the designated driver to begin with. Do not get behind the wheel, ever, after even having one drink, because yes, you don't know what's going to happen, and you don't want that in your system. You don't want anything to happen. You want to be in your right mindset, in the best mindset you possibly could be when getting behind the wheel to drive anywhere, because like I said, it's not just affecting you, it's affecting every single person that you pass on the road and every single person's family that you pass on the road as well too, and all of their friends and everybody else. It affects the community much more than you think. So do not get behind the wheel after any sort of alcohol. Be safe, be smart, make good decisions, live your life the best life you can. I mean, yeah, if you got to get rid of, or if you're trying to escape from your problems, from using a social lubricant, that's cool. Hey, I'm not saying don't drink. I'm just saying don't drink and drive. Be smart and be safe. So with that being said, it's the end of Always Drive Sober Week, although I will always promote and say never drink and drive. So with that being said, it's the end of today's video. Thank you very much for watching. And as always, never drink and drive. Always tip your drivers, and we'll see you next time.